Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Premier League predictions. Once again, penultimate game week. It is game week 37. And we have got some super crazy fights for the Champions League spots right now unfolding for the next 2 game weeks.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't know where this season has gone. It's feeling like it's absolutely flown past. But before we do anything else, as always, just a quick shout out and a quick thank you to every single one of you guys that sub and comment on all of our videos. We appreciate every single one of you. First game up is Manchester United versus Fulham. And in Manchester United's last game, it was that 4-2 loss to Liverpool. And look, part of me sympathises with Manchester United because they've had 4 games in 7 days, which is absolutely... it's moronic, let's be honest about it. But they did rest players in their last game before the Liverpool game against Leicester. But I think the thing that Manchester United will probably be most upset about is the fact that the goals they conceded, they were from... The majority of them were from, I'd say, lapses in defensive concentration. I think on another day, they might not have conceded those goals, except for the 4th. I will respect the 4th because they were going all out trying to get an equaliser and they just got a hit on the counter. But it was the usual kind of attacking fluidity we've seen from Manchester United this season. Especially their second goal was a very good goal they scored. But I think the important thing is they will probably get 3 points against Fulham, and that will secure them second place.
As for Fulham, I borderline skipped this game against Southampton. They kind of really gave up. They let Southampton play. Really let them. They kind of defended at a jogging pace throughout the game, and it's not pretty to watch. But I'll say there is one positive, that Carvalho on his very first start got his very first goal, so hopefully he can grow with this Fulham team in the Championship.
Yeah, I just want to add, I think the difficult thing with Fulham is they were a really hard-working team, and it must be really difficult to keep those effort levels so high when kind of your goal hasn't been achieved.
Score prediction.
Manchester United 4-1. Yeah.
I was going, you know what? I think this is Man United's last game at home. I was going for something like 6-0. Going for 6-0. Next up, it is Southampton versus Leeds United. And against Fulham, it was a good win. It was a good win. But I would probably bear that down to Fulham kind of giving up because... the effort levels from Fulham were not quite there. But Southampton were popping the ball about really nicely, getting in between the gaps between midfield and defence constantly. And I really like that goal from Che Adams. It was kind of an instinctive striker's goal from cross. But other than that, 2 wins on the bounce, and I don't think Southampton will scoff at that, considering the last couple of weeks. So, good win.
Yeah, but 100% agree with that, Gary. But I would say that Leeds put in an even better performance with that 4-0 win over Burnley, and they had some real goals of higher quality. Klitsch goal was an absolute fantastic finish, and Rodrigo, his goals were of such high quality, and it's because his first touch was absolutely impeccable for both goals. He just put himself in a superb position both times where the Burnley defenders and goalkeeper couldn't do anything about it. And I know it's weird to say this in a 4-0 win, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Meslier, because I thought he made some brilliant saves as well to keep it a clean sheet and a 4-0 win.
Okay, so score prediction here.
I'm going with Leeds 2-1.
I'm going with a draw. I'm going for a draw. I'm going 2-2.
Next up is Brighton versus Manchester City. And in Brighton's last game, it was that 1-1 draw with West Ham. And I suppose if you ask the West Ham fans, they probably went exactly how they thought it would go, because Brighton can be a bit of a bogey team for West Ham. And it turned out to be that way, because West Ham, I would say, on the whole, throughout the whole match, they had the better chances. But a few of them, they weren't able to convert. And then right up until I think it's the 83rd minute, Welbeck managed to get that counter-attacking goal. And it was a lovely move by Brighton to transition from defence to attack, and it was an excellent finish by Welbeck. But they let it slip away, and to be fair, there's not a lot they could have done about that. It was an absolutely fantastic finish by Ben Rama.
Yeah, I just think what could have been if Danny Welbeck stayed fit for the whole season, because he's really showing his value to the Brighton side. But as for Man City, we were treated to a 7-goal thriller against Newcastle. I know a lot of rotation, leagues all wrapped up, but there are some places to play for the Champions League final, and a lot of these players, they'll be trying to get in Pep Guardiola's mind for the starting lineup. And yeah, a lot of bad defending, especially down the flanks, and silly mistakes. So I don't think anyone in that back line has done any good in terms of getting into Pep Guardiola's minds. But Ferran Torres, hat-trick, scored a bit of a worldie with that back heel flick, and that was excellent. So they won, which was great.
After all that jargon you just talked about, like getting into the Champions League squad, if you weren't going to name drop Torres after that performance,
yeah,
I was going to have issues. What's your prediction for this one?
This is, I think Man City will squeak by 2-1.
Yeah, I had the same vibe. I was going to do the same, but I'm going to change it up a bit and go 1-0 City.
Next up, it is Chelsea versus Leicester, and a massive game for Champions League football. We already got a preview in the FA Cup final, so this is a crazily big game considering even if both teams draw, that really gives Liverpool the chance to overtake both of them. So it really boils down to this game. Chelsea, yeah, they've kind of let us slip last couple of games. The last Premier League game was against Arsenal. Jorginho put Kepa in all sorts of trouble. Really silly mistake. It has that in its locker. He kind of plays the ball blind sometimes. And they really didn't have the creativity to break Arsenal down. But what was really upsetting was Havertz on that one-on-one. He really should have done better, and they probably wouldn't have been in that position.
And for Leicester City, they were on bad form a few games ago, but they've really turned that on its head. Because if you remember, they got that draw against Southampton, they lost against Newcastle, and then people were starting to ask the question: are they going to slip up again and maybe slip out those Champions League positions? But no, they, to be fair, it was a drastically changed Manchester United side, but they beat Manchester United 2-1, and then they went on and they beat Chelsea in the FA Cup, which is an absolutely phenomenal. A brilliant achievement by Leicester and everyone at the club. So absolutely fantastic weekend for them.
Yeah. Jonathan Ross, thank you very much for that summary. Score prediction, I don't know. I think Leicester can get away with a draw here. So I'm going for them to play for it, and I'm going for 1-1.
I have a feeling Chelsea are going to get some form of revenge. You can't really avenge an FA Cup final win with a Premier League match, but I'm going 1-0 Chelsea. Next up is Everton versus Wolves, and in Everton's last bloody game, they had the chance to really put themselves in a really good position to get Europa League football, and they, for none other of a better term, they fucked it. They were playing Sheffield United, no disrespect to Sheffield United, but they're bottom of the league. They haven't been a very good team this season, and they lost 1-0, and that was I think this is the kind of inconsistency that sums up Everton's season. Even their recent form sums up their season. They've gone draw, win, loss, win, draw, loss. And it's against a whole mixture of teams, all on different ends of the table. It makes absolutely no sense. But for the actual Sheffield United game, firstly, for the goal they conceded, it was terrible defending. I mean, first of all, you've got the centre-back, and I know Sheffield United like to play offensive centre-backs, but you've got a centre-back taking on 3 players and managing to cross the ball. That should not be happening whatsoever. And then Godfrey, I think he loses sight of where his man is, and he steps up when he really shouldn't be stepping up. And he just gives, was it Jefferson? Is it Jefferson? Jefferson.
Yeah.
And he gives him basically, well, not an open goal because the goalkeeper was going to, but a very, very good chance. It was not a good game for the Toffees.
Yeah, they stepped on the biggest banana skin ever with that loss. Can't explain it. But as for Wolves, that's as convincing as a 2-0 loss as I've seen in quite a while. Like Fabio Silva, he is really young, but I thought he'd been playing quite well to get some of the goals in the last couple of weeks, but he didn't have the composure to finish those chances early on. And Wolves, it could have been way worse. They could have conceded like 5. I mean, I think Tottenham hit the woodwork like 2 or 3 times, and it's just a bad day at the office, let's say, for Wolves.
I think Cody got the record for most amount of clearances in a Premier League match.
That's a good record to have if you win, but not when you lose.
Yeah, 100%. What's your prediction for this one?
Random. I'm gonna go Everton 1-0.
I'm going 1-1.
Next up is Newcastle United versus Sheffield United. And Newcastle, wow, you score 3 goals against the champions and somehow you end up losing it. It's a tough pill to take, but they played really well. Steve Bruce probably told them they've got an absolute free shot against the champions here, and they've done the work, they're safe, so why not try and play they played attacking football, but it was mainly counter-attacking football, and they really got at Manchester City down the flanks. Willock, Almiron and St. Maximin got some real success down those flanks and really caused Man City a lot of headaches, making them concede penalties. But at the end, it was just really sloppy defending that kind of was the difference in the end.
And for Sheffield United, this is really frustrating for me, because that performance for me, that was straight out of the 1920 Sheffield United Premier League season. That is exactly what we had seen them do last season and what they haven't been able to recreate this season. Because who got the assist? It was one of their centre-backs after he dribbled past 3 Everton players in a fantastic run. And then what they were able to do is they were able to shut up shop and stop Everton conceding. It was that 1-0 win. It was the fine lines which we saw from last season, which, as I said, they just have not been able to recreate this season. So whilst it's a bit bittersweet that they're doing it now, they're relegated, it's good to see that there's still that potential there for the Sheffield United side to maybe even bounce back.
Score prediction.
I'm going with Newcastle. They've been on form recently. I'm going 2-1 Newcastle.
I'm going 3-1 Newcastle. Free-flowing attack. Willock will get another goal.
Next up is Tottenham versus Aston Villa. And in Tottenham's last game, it was that 2-0 win over Wolves. And I'll be honest with you, Gary, at first I thought it was going to be one of those games for Tottenham, because Conor Cody was absolutely stopping everything and they hit the woodwork a few times. But in the end, it was a little bit of bad defending by Wolves, but it was excellent centre-forward play by Harry Kane to put them ahead. And then in the end, they was able to do something that they haven't done enough this season, which was carry on pressing the opposition team, even though they're in the lead. They didn't hold on to that. They carried on pushing them. And in the end, it was Reguilon who was absolutely, it looked like he had one too many lines of cocaine, and he kept on chasing the ball. And in the end, that's what led to Højbjerg managing to get the second goal and put Wolves out of sight. But it was a good performance from Tottenham.
Slight hint of defamation there on Reguilon's character, but we'll take
No. Respecting his hard work ethic.
Okay. As for Aston Villa, it started off so well. They played pretty well. They had that absolute laser of a shot from McGinn, to start things off. But then, they kind of unravelled, conceded some, poor goals. Benteke came back to haunt them, and it was some really poor defending. I felt that Eze and Zaha just were tormenting them a bit down that right, really taking advantage of that side. And, Aston Villa, they if they won that game, they would have had a shout of, top 10 finish, but they've just got to finish out the season as best they can. But it was difficult. They are without Mings, and Grealish only came on in the second half. So, and they didn't have Matty Cash as well. So it's difficult to play without those 3 players.
What's your prediction for this one?
Unless those players return, I'm going to favour Tottenham. Although Tottenham are pretty up and down as well. But maybe I'm going for a 2-1 Tottenham victory here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 1-0 Tottenham, but with the full understanding that, as you said, both of these teams are like kind of up and down teams. So it could be 5-0 Villa, it could be 5-0 Tottenham. We just don't know. Next up is Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. And in Crystal Palace's last game, as you just summed up pretty well, Gary, it was that 3-2, almost said 4-2. It's that 3-2 win over Aston Villa. And to be honest with you, I did think it was going to end up being a draw. And I thought a draw might just about been a fair result, because I feel like both teams throughout the game, they were kind of both getting on top of each other, but I feel like a draw might have just been fair. But who can argue when you've got a young player, Mitchell, who's obviously, it's his breakthrough season, he's done very well this season, he comes through the youth academy and he gets the winning goal off his shoulder of all things, which was an absolute fantastic moment for him. It wasn't a perfect game for Palace. I feel like, especially for the second goal, there's not a lot they could do about the first, but the second goal they could have defended a bit better. But 3 points in the bag. Overall, I'll be happy. As
for Arsenal, that was kind of weird to see. You kind of thought that after losing to Villarreal that the rails would come off, but I guess big game against Chelsea. kind of hilarious to see Jorginho make that mistake and Smith Rowe capitalising on that, who Arsenal absolutely need to make sure that they tie him down to a new contract. But it kind of shows, the players are still playing for Arteta. It was impressive, Arsenal definitely sat back in that game, and Chelsea tried to create, but Arsenal frustrated them. It didn't really look like they were under much, stress or because Chelsea really didn't create that much. So that is some revenge for the last, say, 50 games where Mourinho triple parked the bus. So it's 1 to 50.
Are you saying you Mourinho Chelsea?
Yes, very happy about that.
Wenger will be turning in his bed because he's not dead, not very.
Yeah, he'll be disgraced. He'd rather lose 5-0 and play attractive football, but yeah.
What's your prediction for this one?
I don't know. Arsenal find it difficult sometimes against teams like Crystal Palace, so I'm going 1-1.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm going 2-2. Statistically, Arsenal have picked up more points against the rich six than the rest of the Premier League.
Yeah, very weird season. Done the double against Chelsea as well. Really weird season. Next up, it is Burnley versus Liverpool. And Burnley, do not worry. I have already sent a letter to the FA to go ahead and delete that game from the archives of the Premier League. I've sent it. It should be with them now. And hopefully they go and delete it. So I'm not going to talk about it because it doesn't exist.
Okay, fair. I'll move on to Liverpool, who definitely don't want these games removed from the archives. And I'm going to do these quickly because you know what I want to talk about, Gary. You know what I want to talk about because it's fucking magical. I'll quickly touch on. I think defensively they weren't great. They've conceded 3 goals in the last 2 games. It's not the Liverpool we're used to seeing. I think offensively they've been doing a lot better. I actually think Mane, if it was Mane of last season, I think he could have had at least 3 or 4 goals. But you can see that little bit lack of confidence. But the thing I want to talk about, I don't want to talk about the 4-2 win over Manchester United, which was a good win. I don't want to talk about the 2-1 win over West Brom. I just want to talk about Alisson in the last minute coming up and doing a header, which Alan Shearer will be proud of. It was just one of those absolute magical moments. It was absolutely brilliant to see.
Go down in history, because you did well. Can you remember the last goalkeeper to score in the last dying minutes? I can't.
In the last dying minute, I think Paul Robinson did it for Leeds, a long time ago. That might have been quite late on. That's the last time I remember an English team doing it, and that's Paul Robinson has long since retired.
But it's pretty amazing. If they didn't get that goal, they really struggled to create against West Brom. They will look back at that moment as a defining moment for them to get back in the Champions League if it happens.
Yeah, 100%.
Score prediction.
I think they're gonna keep the pressure on. I'm going 1-0 Liverpool.
I'm going
2-1. No, 2-1 Liverpool.
I'm going 3-0 Liverpool. I think that was it right there and there. They could have absolutely wilted, and the whole campaign would have gone to stop to a grind. But they'll win this one.
And last game of the game week, it is West Brom versus West Ham. And as we just touched on, I'm sorry, West Brom fans, because you're probably going to be known as a team that conceded that goal against Alisson, but it was that 2-1 loss against Liverpool with Alisson's last minute. I'm going to stop talking about that goal. And to be fair to West Brom, I don't think they played too badly, especially when you consider the level of quality of the opposition. I do think Liverpool were a better team, but honestly, I think Robson Kanu and any other day, he could have maybe had a hat-trick. He had a few good chances. And I know that's not very optimistic coming into the West Ham game, but I will leave you guys with a slice of optimism. Big Sam, he's definitely one of them who likes to get one over his old clubs. And as you may remember, he used to manage West Ham. So I think that he'll be coming out for this game. I think he'll be coming out. Look, he won't just lay down and let West Ham pick up points. I think he's going to be coming for him.
As for West Ham, 2 really, really tough results. It's not been good. West Ham won one game in 5, which is, that's kind of put their whole Champions League run to an end. I don't think they can get back into it. It's a bit too much now. But that's 2 games in a row now where they've kind of they've conceded goals from a slip through ball right down the middle, and the defenders just not playing that line properly, poor offside lines, and yeah, Welbeck went through and just finished that expertly. Benrahma got a great goal to finally get his first Premier League goal, but yeah, West Ham really needed more. They really needed more, and it's just a disappointing end.
Yeah. What's your prediction for this one?
I'm still going to go with West Ham in this one. I mean, I don't believe. I think Sam Allardyce came back for a check. I don't know if he's really going to get them playing well. So I'm going 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, it's either going to be like either 2-1 West Ham or like kind of a 1-1 draw. I think you underestimate Big Sam's pettiness. I think he will be wanting. He would be quite happy to get a result against West Ham. So I'm going for a 1-1.
And that is all for this game week. Get your predictions in the comments now.
Yes, and we will see you Friday when we release the video for the final game week.